Matthew Harvey of the 12 o'clock siren, recording live at the 903 Broadband Studios on Cowboy Corner at the southeast side of the downtown Leonard Square. On my left hand is James 1776 Hartley.
That's right. That's a good name for this type of episode, I think.
I think so. If you might notice, there was no Dallas intro on that.
I did notice that.
This is a little different.
Yep.
We have a different kind of guest here. We've got somebody running for an public office.
Yep.
Office?
Public office.
Okay. We have not done any sort of election style or candidate style interviews, so we want to first say that this is not an endorsement.
Yeah, just information.
Just information, getting information out there to people that may be voting in Fannin County.
Yes, sir.
Correct. And as national kind of politics, people get more involved in them, we realize that local politics people know less about.
Yeah.
So this is a cool way to get that out there. JR has come up to me and had a hot dog cook-off last week here on the spot and was interested in doing the podcast. So here we are. And JR Stricklin.
Mr. Stricklin, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah. So you are running for constable here in Fannin County, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So first off, can you give us a little bit of your background, like where you come from, what you've been doing, whatnot?
Yes, sir.
So, are you from this area?
Born and raised in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay. All right. What brought you to Leonard?
Well, I decided I was done living in the city.
Sure.
And wanted to get a little piece of Texas. So me and my family and all my kids, we moved out here. And this is where we are.
Outstanding.
Lifetime Texan.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Leonard?
I've been in Leonard going on 7 years.
7 years. So you're retired military, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Texas National Guard?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. What unit were you with?
I was with the 56, 49th, 36 Cab.
Gotcha.
Airborne unit.
Awesome.
Out of San Antonio.
I believe it was one of the first airborne units in the National Guard, if I'm not mistaken. At least definitely one of the, I know there's an airborne battalion down there that's kind of new. So
yes, sir. It was a rigger unit.
Ah, okay.
And then what they do is they build all the chutes for the guys that's going to be jumping.
Absolutely. So you did that for what, 30 years?
35 years.
35 years. When did you retire from that?
2 years ago.
2 years. So you miss it at all?
Wasn't ready to stop just yet, but
Sure.
35 was...
It's time.
It's time.
Yeah, I've been in the Air National Guard. I did a little stint, active duty, and I've been in the Air National Guard now, and my total time 17 years, and my fun meter's almost pegged. I'm counting down, so I'm getting there too. So in the meantime, while you were a traditional guardsman.
Yes, sir. I got 4 years, 10 days active.
Awesome.
And been all over the world.
Cool. So while you were a traditional guardsman, what were you doing for a civilian job?
Working as a deputy constable. I started as a reserve constable.
Sure.
And then I finally got on after doing about 6 years reserve.
Right.
And I got my full-time spot. And that's all I've done.
Right.
And we did some truancy. I worked at the schools just a little bit.
Sure.
But then came on over to the constable's office, and that's where I put all my time in.
Sure. So you said you started out working as a deputy constable. Is it similar to like how a sheriff's department's ran, where you have the sheriff who's an elected official, but then they deputize people? Is it kind of the same thing in the constable?
It's kind of the same thing. The sheriff's department, they're first on the food chain.
Sure.
Constables fall second.
Gotcha.
And then you got the city.
Right.
Then you got the city. Then you have the county marshal, and then you have the city marshal.
Gotcha. So when you were a deputy constable, you didn't have to run for that office, though?
No, sir.
Gotcha. You were hired by the constable.
Hired by the constable to serve subpoenas, citations.
Is that appointed under the constable, I guess?
Yeah.
He appoints.
Deputized,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So, well, speaking, you were talking about serving citations and stuff. So I think, look, I think I have a grasp on law enforcement here, but a lot of people don't know what constables do. Can you just kind of give us a rundown what the roles and responsibilities of constables are?
The role of a constable is to be in the community and see and answer questions, see what their needs are, and give them some guidance, because constables are unique. And we do the subpoenas, the eviction notices, writ of garnishments, habeas corpus. we APAL, we have some white warrants. If we have a situation where you have a relative or something that's just not quite there, and you want them to get some help, so you go to the local JP, and the JP will issue that white warrant, and then we'll go out and pick the individual up and take him to Sherman is where they take them to get the help that they need.
Gotcha.
What is a white warrant? I'm going to ask a lot of questions like that because I don't know a whole lot about
Me either.
A white warrant, it's a mental health. It's an MI.
Okay.
It's they call it a white warrant, but it's an MI. That's mental health.
Gotcha.
And you have to go to that school so you'll understand and know how to deal with people that's having issues and get them the necessary help they need. Now, if you wait and then something happens, then it's too late.
Sure.
But if you want to APAL someone, anyone can APAL. Your buddy. They call it HAPAL. You can walk them in, fill out the necessary paperwork, and they get checked out for 24 to 48 hours.
Sure.
To get them the help that they need so they're not wandering around out there and endangering themselves.
So
you would chaperone that process, kind of?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're kind of the liaison between the public and that process. Right?
Yes, sir, because sometimes people they feel ashamed or they think, well, something's wrong with me. I'm scared to go do this. Would you, hey, pal, would you take and there's no questions asked.
Sure.
This is just something your buddy or your friend can do to get you the necessary help before something happens that can be pretty serious.
Sure. Now, as a constable, are you a commissioned law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir. To be a constable, everyone has to be certified with the T-code license.
Sure.
So you're a peace officer, which is what the state of Texas requires.
Sure.
But you just do a different job.
Right. Right.
So in serving that white warrant, you might serve other civil papers, subpoenas for court.
Yes, sir.
These are all kind of situations that might get a little sticky.
Yes, sir.
Maybe if somebody else does it. So what kind of qualities do you need to possess to be able to handle these delicate situations?
Well, you have to be a people person. And there's a lot of schools you have to go to, civil process, and people have issues, but you can't look down on them. First, you got to think, hey, they need help. I got to serve them these papers. I'm not here to arrest you. I'm just trying to give you notice that this is happening so that you can go and fix it without a delay.
I think that's kind of an interesting position to be in because, especially in this climate right now, sometimes we find, law enforcement officers and the civil population kind of at odds sometimes, and it seems a little bit your role might take a softer approach there, and like whoa, I'm not here to get you in trouble. I'm just kind of here to help you through this process, at least give you the direction you need.
Yes, sir. Right. And it's all explained in the body of the papers.
Sure.
That we give you, and we give you the number which is in the body of the papers, so that you can call and say, hey, I received these papers. What do I need to do?
Right.
If you're on the receiving end of that, you could feel comfortable with asking the constable questions about what to do next or why I got this or what the next steps are.
Yes, sir. We can. It's a fine line, and we're not there to be an attorney.
Sure, yeah.
And we have to make that known. Because then they turn around and say, well, he told me, let's read the body of the paper, call this number, and these people will help you.
Right. But this isn't necessarily one of those situations where, like, an attorney usually, advises a client to keep their mouth shut around police. This isn't something where, hey, you need to not self-incriminate. This is like, hey, I'm here to help you out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned habeas corpus. Can you explain that a little bit?
It's writ of habeas corpus.
Sure.
And we serve those papers too.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we do.
What is it?
Yeah, I would have to Google it actually. Let's do that real quick.
Habeas corpus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Corpus is body. I assume that's like Latin.
You got a writ of habeas corpus. You got a writ of mandamus, and these are just terms that you use, and that's a style of paper that you have to that it will fall under.
Gotcha. I assume that's probably Latin.
Yeah, medieval Latin meaning we, a court, that you have the body.
I was right.
It's a recourse in law through which a person can report an unlawful detention or imprisonment to a court and request that a court order the custodian of that person, usually a prison official, to bring the prisoner to court or determine whether the detention is lawful. Interesting.
Cool.
So what are some of the key differences that you see as being a constable down in Dallas and being a constable in somewhere like Fannin County?
Down in Dallas, it's very, very busy, and it's a high turnover because you have a bunch of papers that you have to sign within a timely manner.
Sure.
And if you can serve that individuals, there's also certain rules that you can do 106s, 536s to try and get the paper served in a timely manner. Now, being up here in Fannin County, because Fannin County is growing, these issues are going to come about.
Right.
And they're going to want to know. So by being in this unique time and doing the job that I've done, then we can get with the JPs, get with the commissioners' courts, get some paperwork out there so that these people can be educated on just what they need to do and the steps to take. Because this never happened. Well, in Dallas, it happens every day.
Right.
Yeah. What are your most common cases you see in Dallas when you're working day to day?
Yeah, what fills up your day the most?
Issues. You got people arguing over their property. You got child support issues when there's money involved. You got kids, parents not taking care of the kids. They're running off with the kids. You have to go and get the kids, give the kids back over to the right parent.
Right.
CPS gets involved. A lot of these things are coming this way.
So property disputes too, then, like you were saying.
A lot of property.
Evictions.
Eviction notices, and people are not abreast to
The proper way of doing things.
the procedures you have to take before you do the eviction notice.
Right.
A lot of people say, well, you get out. No. That's not it.
Right.
But if you do it by the court, the local JP, and you file your eviction notice, people don't. I ask a lot of people, what is the first step you take for an eviction notice?
Right. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, it's a 3-day notice to vacate. And that notice has to be put on the front door
Right.
of the entrance. And if you have a kid that's 18 or 30 and he's not putting out what he's supposed to be doing, you put it on his door and you can evict him.
Right.
And then you go to your local JP, file your eviction notice.
From his bedroom door?
Oh, yeah, you have to post it on his, the entry.
His entry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If he lives in that room, you put it on that door, and they get 3 visits.
Wow.
And on the, you give them 2, and on the 3rd one, we post it on the door. It's not one of those situations that, well, I'm not going to open the door. That's
Right.
one paper you will receive.
Sure.
Because that eviction notice, once I go twice,
Right.
on the 3rd time I come back, it's on the door.
Right.
And you can't float those papers. And I call floating it when people push on the door and try to squeeze it in.
Right.
And you see a lot of that down in Dallas, but
Sure.
people be at home and you slide it through that little crack.
Right.
And they say, well, hey, I wasn't served.
Yeah.
And you have to put it in their hand. And if they say, well, I don't want that paper.
The 3rd time.
Well, if you open that door,
Yeah.
it's anybody that's over the age of 18.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then I can give that paper to them. You hand it to I'm not going to accept it. Well, you wouldn't accept it, drop paper at feet, and you've been served, and walk away.
Right.
Let me ask a question here. Sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
You run into a lot of that?
Oh, a whole lot of that.
So let's just say Matthew's renting an apartment from me, or a house, and I do everything right. I give the notice, I contact all the right people, but he refuses to leave. At what point does he? Sure.
Once the court decides, hey, judgment is to the plaintiff, and you file that writ, you're out of here.
Yeah. So during the 30 days that you're waiting, do you have any idea of what actually happens during that time?
There's a
With
whole
the
lot
paperwork? I mean, is there cases being written, or is it just sitting in a file and waiting for 30 days?
It's waiting for it to go to court.
Sure.
Once the case
so
is
just
heard,
waiting for a court opening, I guess.
because what they want to do is they want to get that done because people get mad at you. Mm-hmm. So then what they'll turn around and do is tear up your house. Mm-hmm. They'll take your air conditioner out. Anything that's affixed,
Sure.
you can't take it. But, hey, man, they evicted me. I paid all this money, And so I'm going to take the ceiling fans down. I'm going to take the air conditioning down. They take it out of the ceiling.
So James is renting me this house, and I just took all his fixtures. What does he do then?
And then you file a judgment against him if he comes in any money. And this is going to go on his record, so when he tries to go somewhere else, it's going to pick up and say, oh, no.
We're not renting to that guy.
We're not going to rent to that guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So do y'all do any property or asset seizures?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. We if you buy a car from, I don't know, Chase, Bank of America, and you decide you're not going to pay it, I'll come to your house. I'll seize that car. Well, I can't get through the gate. I'll just keep coming by, and I'll catch the gate open. And when I catch the gate open, then I call a wrecker.
Yeah.
And we take that car.
Sure.
And you have to pay for the storage because it's your case.
Yeah.
We just call a wrecker, tell them where to drop it off. You got to pay for that every day until you have the court hearing, and then the judge decides, okay, well, you ain't paid. You have to give them back that car.
Right.
But people try to hide the cars and hide the tractors, their lawnmowers, and if it has to be taken, we're gonna come get it.
Find it somehow.
And if you go to a rent center, rent some furniture. People move out here and they want a couch, they want a stove, they want a refrigerator, they want all these things, but then when it's time to pay, they don't want to pay. We see a lot of that. So we call, the people come to us, JP, file the paperwork, and then we go out and, okay, we're Dallas County Constables or we're Fannin County Constables, and we're here to pick up this refrigerator, this washing machine. So and that's what we do.
What might be one of your most difficult situations you've had to deal with?
Taking kids.
Oh, yeah.
Taking kids and evicting people is one of the hardest things to do because there's kids involved and people are crying. And then a lot of times around the holidays, it's tough to put people out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Regardless of the circumstances, really.
Yeah, because you like to think, well, I guess everything is kind of your responsibility. But the people that you're running into, they're just trying to make it,
They're just trying to make it, and we all get down on our luck, and you have to look at those people like, hey, nobody's perfect. We're all a step away from being there.
Right.
Sure.
And that's the whole key, because when we come out, listen, we really don't want to do this. This is not us, and it's a landlord. Maybe y'all can work something out. Maybe you can call someone. But however, she's done it, we have to do it.
At the end of the day, there are rules.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I bet it's probably especially hard when you've got kids involved that you're taking. I mean, there's a divorce decree, right? And there's a custody decree, and maybe the kids don't want to go back to the parent who rightfully is their, court ordered their guardian, and the kids are crying. They don't want to go back, but y'all got to take them. That's got to be a tough spot.
Yes, sir. And when we go there, we normally park. We'll have the parents around the corner.
Right.
And then we'll go to the house. We'll serve the individual. We'll get the kids. CPS will be there with us. And if they're not, we'll still serve that paper, grab the kids, and bring them around the corner and turn them over to the rightful parent.
Gotcha. What happens to that parent that if that's happening, the parent that was not in the right there, is there repercussions?
Well, there's a lot of repercussions with that because you can turn around and you can file this deal where they can't come within 500 yards of you. And then we serve them that paper.
Right.
And then we escort them off that property. And we let them know this is not the right way. You need to do this by the court. And you have to go get you some legal representation because the way you're trying to do it is just going to get people hurt and feelings hurt and the kids are hurt. And it turns into a bad deal, especially for the kids.
Gotcha. What are, and this is totally switching gears here, I just saw something on our notes here, license and weight.
Well, license and weight, if we have a lot of traffic come through Leonard.
Sure.
These big trucks. And if you're overweight, they'll give you a grant to get the scales. You go to school. I've been to the license and weight school.
So if you're skipping the main highways and running through 69 illegally?
Well, it's not so much as illegally, but what's illegal is being overweight.
Right.
Gotcha.
And those tickets run anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. Right. And that's revenue coming back. And they're tearing up our roads, too.
Sure.
Well, that's probably based off, bridge weights and maybe road widths and stuff.
Conditions, I would think, too.
Conditions
Right?
that they're just not classified to drive on Highway 69 versus 75.
Right. And they bring a lot of trucks through here.
Yeah.
But once you put that out there, that brings revenue to Fannin County.
How do you know they're overweight?
Well,
just by looking, I mean, your eyeball.
You can't tell.
You can't, yeah.
You just pull them up on the scale, and the scale will tell you.
Right.
And they stand there and watch. You weigh them. And if they're within the restriction, you let them go. And if they're not, you write them a ticket.
What's an example of that? Maybe like a big gooseneck trailer with the...
It's
More
mainly
like 18-wheelers, right?
18-wheelers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And anything with the tandem axles.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you get the front and you get the back, and you put them up on the scales. You can't do it while it's raining because the scales will push back as they're pulling up on the truck, and someone will get hurt.
Do you have like scales in your trunk or something?
Well, they give you a nice little setup, and you put them in the back. They're sitting in slots
In the trunk?
in the back of your truck.
Wow.
Yeah. We use them to, in my unit, to weigh our vehicles for getting on an airplane. Yeah. So,
Payload.
attachments.
Get rid of attachments. Let's say, for instance, you got some paperwork, and the court orders you. It tells you, hey, bring that paperwork.
Sure.
And you won't bring it. So we'll come and get you and
Pick it up. Put it in your pocket.
we'll come and get you, and we'll take you before the judge, and the judge can decide what he wants to do with you, or if he finds you in contempt, then what he'll do is turn around and let you sit 24 to 48 hours in the jail, but you're going to give the paperwork.
That's a contempt issue then. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's in the court, like, man, just open your phone. It's on there. Yeah. It's in your emails.
Yeah.
Well, they could seize that
print it
stuff.
off.
It's like doctors' paperwork or some type of lawsuit paperwork, and you just won't want to give it up.
So we've kind of worked our way through this list of roles and responsibilities, and before we wrap up, we'd like to give you an opportunity here to talk about kind of your vision and like your beliefs here at the 12 o'clock siren, and I think Fannin County in general, we take individual liberty and rights very serious. What's your opinion and how you see if you are so elected to the office? How do you see this going?
I'll see it going pretty good because I'll be out in the community, which is you're supposed to be out there.
Sure.
This is not a part-time position. This is 8 to 4:30, and people should know who their local constable, who he is. And if you know that constable, you can come to him and ask, hey, I need some help with this. Well, let me guide you over here, and to be out on these back roads because the city police they don't come there. But with more revenue, more deputies, then they got to serve papers on these back road, and it's kind of a deterrent if you see that deputy constable riding down your road, right. and you wave, and they feel a little bit more secure. My vision is to bring in more revenue here.
Right.
I don't have to change anything, but set the pace for what's coming.
Sure.
And make people aware of the situations that they get themselves in. And don't go do something stupid because there is something that could be done
Right.
before you take matters into your own hand. And when you're with a small town and they don't know, but if somebody's here to educate them, then these people will say, man, that's our constable.
Right.
He's doing a good job. And we see him. We don't wait till election time and say, hey, vote for me. And I ain't seen you in 3 years.
Right.
You'll see me every day because you can't miss all this.
Sure. Yeah. You got a pretty good advertisement out there too. That yellow Hummer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's hard
it's
to
all
miss.
over the place. You can't miss it.
That's it.
So my big question is, do you have a radar gun in there?
Not yet.
Okay.
Great. Got my vote.
I'm not big on traffic. Slow down.
That's not like constable's main objective, is it? To pull over for speeding and
no,
regular
but we can go to the schools and take the LiDAR. We can run traffic.
Sure.
We
Sure.
will serve arrest warrants.
Yeah, when I was about 18, I was going into school in McKinney from Celeste, and I was just tearing it up down this road, probably 90 miles an hour. And this constable is coming in off a side road, and I didn't think constables had radars, and probably didn't at the time. But boy, he pulled me over.
He lit you up, huh?
Yeah, I was like, man, I didn't see that coming. But anyway, that was my big question for the constable.
Oh yeah.
Well, Mr. Stricklin, what's the particulars? When's the vote?
Well, the early voting starts February 18th. And I'm asking everyone to please, please, please come out and hit number 2 on the ballot because I believe we're growing, and I'll make history. becoming the constable out here.
Really?
And I just want to do the right thing.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate your time and educating us and our local listeners about what a constable does and why you should be the electee. So,
Yes, sir. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right.
Y'all come vote.
hey, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Enjoy your weekend.
Absolutely.
Thank you.